I think it's a long overdue first step to acknowledge that the climate crisis at its heart is a fossil fuel crisis.
Can we trust our governments to voluntarily phase out fossil fuels?
So right now the government doesn't have a legislated duty of care to look after young people when it comes to making decisions that will affect the climate crisis.
Jess Travers Wolf and other climate activists from the Eastern Pacific region have experienced firsthand the devastating effects of the climate crisis. While the phasing out of fossil fuels was included in the COP28 agreement, it's not legally binding, leaving the onus to actually do the work on individual governments.
Look, I think it's the bare minimum. We haven't been able to use the word phase out, which I think is atrocious. You know, let's call a spade a spade. It's the smallest of wins. I think the Pacific was looking for more, honestly. They're looking to be helped and protected. They're on the front lines of climate change, and as Australia, you know, we're one of the Pacific's biggest neighbour, and we are the biggest carbon emitter in the region.
Australia is one of more than 100 nations that advocated for an emphasis on phasing out fossil fuels in the COP28 agreement. But that idea faced opposition from groups like the Organization for Petroleum Exporting Countries.
I think it's a long overdue first step to acknowledge that the climate crisis at its heart is a fossil fuel crisis. But now that it's really important to Australia, for Australia to come home and focus on domestic legislation that will help them achieve COP's goals that they've assigned to.